We're now being joined by Graham Kirby from Remax Masters Real Estate and downtown expert. Graham, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I wanted to start off by asking you how you actually got involved in the real estate industry.
Well, it was sort of a roundabout way. I was in Hong Kong. I had a different business there. And Li Ka-shing, who's sort of the Donald Trump of Hong Kong, as it were, he did a project called the Regatta in Falls Creek, and it sold out in 24 hours. And I happened to know a couple of different developers in Vancouver, and that's sort of how I got started. I made a few phone calls, started off being a middleman with the first project, and appointed a marketing company to do everything. And I found that because we had local knowledge of Vancouver, we were doing most of the selling ourselves rather than the company. So at that point, we took a big step and actually opened our own office, which had its own exhibition room. It was a major step at that time for me to do that in Hong Kong. It was extremely high rent district and everything, but I could see the potential. And that's how I kind of got started with the business, straight into it.
So that brought you back to Vancouver?
Yeah, it did.
That brought you to Vancouver, the opening of the office?
No, I was actually in Vancouver originally, and I moved to Hong Kong in the mid-'80s. And it was when I was there doing other business that I discovered the opportunity there. And so it started like that. We did the first project. It was 120 units, and we sold it out in 2 weeks.
Wow.
So at that point, we decided to do it, structure everything properly, and we did several more projects in the Vancouver area. And we actually moved on then to properties in the States. We did some projects there, and then into other parts of Asia. Malaysia and other areas, and even into Europe actually a little bit as well. So it was quite interesting, quite an introduction to the industry.
Now, Graham, what are the differences between the industry here and the industry, say, in Hong Kong? What are the subtle differences in doing business?
Some of them aren't that subtle, actually. I really enjoyed being over there and working there because everything's at a very fast pace. I don't know if it's so much Hong Kong, but it's the big city mentality. You've got 6.5 million people in a pretty small area, and it's a very competitive environment, and you have to have a very competitive product, and you have to be able to have all the answers ready, and basically be able to compete with a lot of other products out there. And so you sort of sharpen your pencil, and you make sure that you do a professional job, and you hope for the best, and things worked out well. I learned a great deal from doing business there. I found that probably for a lot of investors in Hong Kong, their decision process, as long as you provide them with all the information, all the numbers, a lot of good accurate information, and you've built a good reputation, their decision process is very fast. People would walk in and often make a decision within 20 minutes of what they're going to do.
Now, more locally, I like to ask virtually every guest I have their opinion on this. It's good to get a lot of different answers. What is your sort of long-range outlook on the Vancouver real estate market?
On the Vancouver market, I'm very positive on the market here. Having traveled to all these different areas of the world looking at various types of real estate, people here say that we're overpriced and all the rest of it that's been going on for the last few years. In relation to the rest of the world and a lot of places, we're not overpriced at all.
So you don't think so?
This is a wonderful place to live. We've got a terrific resource in this city. Having traveled around, I can't think of a better place to live, to be honest with you. And we have such tremendous assets here with the skiing and the water and everything surrounding us. And more people are seeing that now. And I think where else would you rather live in Canada? I mean, this is just paradise.
It's true.
I think we've got a tremendous future ahead of us. The economy is looking very good in the short and medium term. The internal migration here, the external migration. There's just so much going on with the infrastructure here. I'm very positive.
What primarily are the areas that you focus on?
For some reason, it's ended up it became a downtown situation for me. I do work with clients all over, but the majority of my deals seem to be in the downtown core, being Cole Harbour, Yaletown, downtown, West End. And that works fine for me. I enjoy working with that. The majority of my projects in Asia were condominium projects, so I'm very familiar with that format, and I'm finding that an exciting challenge here.
So just to go back to that difference, maybe even culturally based when it comes to Hong Kong dealings and here, would you find that Vancouver clients are a little slower to make a decision?
Yeah, definitely more cautious on the whole. And that's just the culture here. That's the way it is. And also, you have to understand that when I was doing projects, basically it's the same here with projects. You don't get the opportunity to really negotiate a lot of things as you do with an individual purchase.
Right.
So that's a side of the business which I actually enjoy here, and I can put my experience to work, whether I'm acting for the buyer or the seller, and it's good to have experience there. So it's worked out well.
Obviously, downtown's a very hot market. There's a lot of agents representing that area. What can you do to give added value to your clients?
Well, you're right, it is. It's very competitive, and I like that aspect of it. It sort of reminds me a bit more of the dynamics of Hong Kong
No
in
doubt.
that respect. And I think the only way to build a long-term business, it's all based on service level. You have to be able to listen, really listen well to your client, and make their whole process as painless as possible. I provide all the information for whether it's a first-time buyer or an investor. Whatever information they require, I make sure they receive it. And if I'm acting with a buyer, I do extensive research on that property before they make any kind of offer on the property. I'll check all the comparables and do an extensive comparative market analysis to ensure that they're offering the right price for the property, and put my negotiating skills to the test when we try to get them the best deal.
Yeah, because it seems like a lot of buyers are very stressed out. It's a very stressful circumstance.
It
So you
can
have to be
be.
part psychologist and
can be.
calm them down a bit.
Sometimes, yeah, and you'll be surprised that you see different sides of personalities with these
No doubt.
situations. But the most of the time, I find that by providing them with all the answers, all the information, showing them through step by step the whole process, and explaining every step as you go, you take away most of that stress. And I tell everyone that don't get too emotionally involved in each offer you make, because this is what we feel it's worth. And if you don't want to get into a Dutch auction type situation, which was happening a lot when the market was a little hotter earlier in the year. So now it's a lot more stable. It's a more balanced market, which is better, I think, for everybody. Obviously, if you're selling, you like to see things a little more heated, but overall, for the real estate market, I think we're in a good position.
Now, you also give staging and renovation advice as well, do you not?
Yes, when I work with sellers, I find you can really optimize the value of their property by doing several things, starting with just a paintbrush. If you make sure you have the right colors in the home, you remove all the clutter from the home. There's a whole bunch of different things you can do to really improve the look and feel of your place and make it more spacious. And that includes staging, which basically means you can put furnishings which fit the apartment or the house that really fit in well, so that the place looks a lot more luxuriant and more spacious. And from the renovation side, I've worked with so many clients where you walk in and they're in the middle of this huge reno, but there's no master plan. They plan to sell the place, but they haven't got a master plan. So they're doing flooring, but then the cabinets don't match,
Right.
and they're making these decisions without the correct advice. So I put people in touch with good interior designers and decorators. We set up a proper master plan, and all this adds up to adding a great amount of value to the sale of the property eventually, and it makes it more sellable. Basically, that property will sell versus one that hasn't been properly managed as far as the renovation goes.
Now, people watching this and maybe interested in getting a hold of you, how can they do that?
Oh, they can contact me directly. Best would be on my cell phone, 604-764-5511. Or they're very welcome to drop me an email. They can do that gkirby@novuscom.net or through my website, www.grahamkirby.com.
Graham, thank you very much for coming on. Graham Kirby from RE/MAX Masters Realty. Appreciate it very much.
You're very welcome.